Welcome to the Heat Beat Podcast. I'm your host, Giancarlo Navas. And with me today, on the bottom of the screen, you have our 2K coach, Franky.
COVID coming back with a vengeance.
COVID Kelly. We've made too many jokes in this podcast at the expense of players. On the left of the screen, right next to me, the wonderful, the talented Siobhan. Welcome. Your maiden voyage on Heat Beat. You might hear her voice on the Miami Heat Beat pregame show or a Hangover Time postgame show. This is her maiden voyage on the pod. Welcome.
What's up, G? Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
First of many appearances, I hope. And we have this esteemed panel to talk about the shit show that is the NBA and COVID, specifically the Miami Heat. Now, Siobhan, game was canceled on Sunday. The Heat apparently could not field enough players. It was kind of weird, right? Because the Celtics were the ones that had that. It was like questionable. It's like, well, how many can the Celtics man? You know, they have all these COVID cases: Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Robert Williams, all this stuff. And then the report came that it's the Heat that don't have the 8 players. And you have kind of Goran, which makes – I have something to say about that. But you have Goran with the knee soreness. You had Myers with the shoulder sprain. You had, like, Gabe Vincent and, like, some – I don't know how he got sore. Right? So you have, like, this collection of knick-knack injuries. And then you have Avery Bradley plus some others in a COVID protocol. And it comes out today that Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Butler, Goran Dragic, Mo Harkless, Udonis Haslem, Kendrick Nunn, and KZ Okpala are all in the safety health protocols. That leaves us with Myers Leonard and his questionably strained shoulder. We have Gabe Vincent and some sort of knee injury. We have Olynyk with some sort of groin contusion. And we have our very own Max Strus. Siobhan, I don't understand what the fuck the league is doing. Is it fair for me to say that there is an outbreak?
No, there's an outbreak. There's definitely an outbreak. There's an East Coast outbreak.
Only Eastern teams.
It's only on the Eastern teams, but it's not surprising. You know, East Coast is the most populated. I don't know, like, what the fuck is going on. We shouldn't be playing. We knew that a bubble for the whole season was untenable. Mental health and all of those types of things went into that, but like it's getting bad, man. And it's interesting, like of the last 4 teams that the Wizards have played, all of the opposing teams have had people come out, but none of them have. They're not being restricted. They're still playing. Like, we need a pause. We need a break. Sit the Wizards down, maybe. I don't know. We need a collective couple of weeks to just let everything recalibrate. It's
no one's gonna miss them playing basketball.
Huh?
No one's gonna miss them playing basketball.
The Wizards.
Yeah, not who, Miami? Oh,
no, the Wizards. Like, who the fuck, you know what I miss?
Shit, we might not miss us playing right now, too. I would be glad for a break, work this shit out. We look bad, but I don't know. The
watch
league
some
looks
film.
bad. Yeah, like we tried, you know, the product's damaged right now. We got guys out all over the place, games postponed. It's okay. Take a break, pick it back up, or it's just going to keep going. Everyone's a close contact of a close contact.
Like, yo, I made the joke last time, like, the NBA's, like, as a league is going to have herd immunity before society is. Like, they're just all going to, like, Bam might have it twice and none. Poor guys.
Yeah.
So kind of to your point before about the Wizards, January 3rd, Wizards play Nets. January 5th, KD has to quarantine. January 6th, Wizards play 76ers. January 7th, multiple Sixers quarantine. January 8th, Wizards play Celtics. January 9th, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have to quarantine. And then obviously the Wizards play the Heat. And then, and that's by Justin Russo at FlyByKite on Twitter. Covers the Clippers, does a great job. I don't want to blame it on specifically the Wizards because it doesn't make sense that they would play and then the positive test turnarounds the next day. And, Alf said this last show, like, if we're tracking, like, where they got the positive test, it's honestly a useless exercise that doesn't help anybody. I mean, the reality of the league, Franky, is the reality of the league. And this is what the players and the executives and everyone signed up for. I think that it's it makes me uncomfortable to read that they expected postponements, right? They planned for it and they say we expected it, which is just like, it's just a weird thing to say. It's like, yeah, we expect people to get this death-eating virus, but we're good. We're good. And by the way, we're welcoming in right now our Heat Twitter president, Alf, live from his car. Alf is doing the Izzy Gutierrez, coming live from his car. Alf, talking about whatever the fuck the league is doing right now, it's not working. And Siobhan made the point of they need some sort of shutdown. We reported yesterday that the league was going to kind of meet with executives, and that meeting, as Woj reported, will be tomorrow. Alf, if they're not shutting the league down, I don't really know what the fuck their priorities are other than the bag.
That is their only priority. They're not shutting the league down. They're not going to even take I don't even see them taking a small break. They're just going to keep postponing games. They're going to do what the Major League Baseball did, I think, and they're just going to try to power through it. Like, it goes to what it's all about. It's all about money. Can you even see me?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like, oh,
no, yeah. Stream can see you. Stream can see you.
All right. Yeah. It's just this is what it's all about. It's all about money. And that's And Ethan actually tweeted something out today, and I agreed with it. This is the season that's going to get the asterisk, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. Because Alf, by playoff time, they're going to be in a bubble. I unless we're fully vaccinated as a society, I just think that they're either going to play without fans or in a bubble. And at that point,
how do you
what
take
the fuck?
Regular season record seriously?
Well, we never take regular season records seriously. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah,
you were a fifth seed and made the finals.
But I'm talking about there's going to be teams that legit, lose dozens of games because they have look at the Heat. They have no chance of winning on Tuesday night. Max Strus is going to be your starting shooting guard.
That's what we've been clamoring for.
I'm a fan of the Strus lose. But
who's we?
Right.
Hold on, wait. To your point, Frankie, Alf saying this, but if the Orlando Magic lose 12 games because of COVID, it's not like they were winning the championship. If the Heat drop 12 games and are a 7 seed or whatever, it's not. I don't know how much that's going to affect their because everyone's going to miss games, Alf. I think it's clear that no team is going to go through this season without some sort of 2-week period where your whole fucking team's out. So I kind of get the idea behind it, but I kind of feel like we're going to look at it the same as last season. This shit's going to be weird. This regular season largely is about survivability. It doesn't matter. Just everyone's going to get to the playoffs. They're going to have some sort of bubble. They're going to do something to keep people safe because the integrity of your playoffs matters. Nobody cares about the regular season games while the NFL playoffs are happening. Nobody ever watched these games. This is just us. This is just Heat fans and us. Nobody gives a shit about Kings Warriors on a Tuesday. Just us. Right, Frankie? I don't really see. I get the point, and I agree to an extent. I just think that the regular season, largely, nobody ever cares about, and I think by the playoffs, they're going to get it right.
But you also have to take into account that this is a season where they're introducing the play-in tournament, right? See matters now, and you say I think they're probably going to look into a bubble too, but you look into it. The season just started. There's teams that haven't played. Most teams haven't played 15 games, and if it's going towards a shutdown or guys have to shut down 2 weeks, I think there's a chance for injuries to come right after it because a lot of these guys aren't in game shape yet. They're not the shortened preseason, shortened training camp, shortened off season. I think that there's a real good chance that there could be a higher risk of injury, not just because of COVID.
That's why you see guys wrestling on back-to-backs, right, Siobhan? Westbrook wrestling back-to-back. All these guys, Draymond wrestling back. These guys, vets, are wrestling on back-to-back. So, I think that's a valid concern. But,
Draymond's wrestling for. He's been... No.
Listen, he's old. They got to protect him. He's expensive. Yeah. That's an expensive guy. But, I kind of see Alp's point, Siobhan. I kind of want your thoughts on that. But... whoever's in the play-in tournament, if they're fucking cheated out of a couple wins, at the end of the day, I don't care if the Memphis Grizzlies got screwed out of a play-in spot, whatever. Fine, sorry.
I don't know. I think a little bit more stock has to be put into the regular season. Like Frankie said, we are introducing the play-in this year, and just for if nothing else, continuity, right? We have people in and out of lineups. We're used to kind of, some janky lineups, but I don't know, man. You have to figure it out. And I think it needs to be figured out before playoffs, or your playoff product will be some poo because you have teams, with records that they shouldn't have, seating that is terrible. We're not going to have fans again. So that home advantage part of the thing does or doesn't matter. But I think there's something to be said for looking to get it right before then. If the NBA is touted as the league that like gets it right the most.
The woke league.
Or the more woke of the leagues.
Yeah.
And okay, cool. We got the bubble right. We did that. And I get it. We gotta protect the bag, protect revenue and income and all that stuff. But I almost want to say let's not get greedy here. Try for the season. We are trying. I don't know. I think they have come up with, they have to do something. There needs to be a pause. For nothing else, the integrity of the product. No one wants to see Max Strus and whoever else we're trying out there against whoever Philly.
Alpha and I do.
Y'all can have that. And then
if you were storming the Capitol, you probably would.
No.
No, hey,
Million MAGA lineup.
Schmeeth and Schmolnick in the chat says he disagrees with you, Gianni. He goes, he's a degenerate gambler. He stands for Kings Warriors money line.
That I was laughing at the idea of the league finding Philadelphia for fake resting Ben Simmons to try to get out of the game, and I'm like, they fined him specifically because that fucked up a money line. That just totally
100%.
fucked up it's totally, league got to protect their gamblers. Tiff, our Tiffany, resident hater, you can hear her on Hangover Time and on the Heapy pregame show. She says teams are gonna fall too far back in the standings. Troppy Baby, aka Alex Toledo, says the woke league selling out for their guys' health and money. Listen, that's we've been knowing that.
Yeah,
that's how they operate.
There's a lot of things that need repair. A lot of the product needs repair, the image needs repair, because we look like the rest of the money grubbing leagues. And I don't know. I agree with Tiff. I think you're gonna see important teams and teams that shouldn't be where they are end up further down the standings than they should be. COVID, injuries, continuity, just all of those things combined.
Something.
Yeah, I think you're a little bit off. I think it's not just going to affect the 7th, 8th, and 9th seed. I think you're literally going to see some of these teams that are title contenders, maybe on the fringe, like the Heat were last year. The Heat were a 3rd, 4th, 5th seed, a title contending fringe team. And this season, if they go on a 10-game losing streak, or even a 5-6-game losing streak because they don't have Jimmy, Bam, Boran, they're missing all their guys, it could literally drop them out of the playoffs this year. I don't think it's. I don't.
But that's gonna happen to other people too. That's my thing. It's I think that's. I think it's.
It's not like it all balances out. You could you could have a team like this, a total fraud ass team as a 2 or 3 seed. It's gonna be a fucked up.
I don't
product.
think it's gonna get to that. I really.
Why
don't.
not? Why not? If the Lakers,
there's no predictability.
If the Lakers lose LeBron and AD for 2 weeks. And
that's 7 games, right?
That's a lot of games.
Team is going to move into the and that maybe they do it twice in a year because of contact tracing. It could completely throw off.
Okay, that I'll give you. If it happens multiple times, if you get unlucky, I do that.
It's not going to be. It's not luck. It's going to happen.
No, you're right. You're right. It just seems untenable for them. It seems like they can't. This is not like the NFL, like you said, where they have a whole week in between it. There's a 50-man fucking roster.
Which is why they have to take the time. They have to create the time. This currently is more untenable than the idea that it's going to stop or any of that type of thing. It's only going to get worse. It's just going to keep going.
No, and they didn't even plan ahead. We got back-to-backs early on in the season where you're traveling to multiple cities, playing multiple teams. So, in a week span, you're connected all around with 12 teams. How are you going to prevent that if you're not going steps ahead and try? I thought they had great idea early on talking about we'll have a team stay in a city, play their 2-season series in that week, and be done with them. And you're not going to see Heat Bucks in later on in the season, maybe until playoffs. I thought that was the most tenable way to do it. Instead, you got the Heat get 3 days off, then they have a back-to-back, Boston and Washington. Then they travel. They get a day off to travel, and then they play Philadelphia, who's just played a back-to-back against 2 other teams. You can't. How are you going to prevent COVID spreading like that?
Domino effect, complete domino effect. And even baseball, that was a shit show. Like Franky's saying, they were in the same city for 4 days. Yeah. At least and they had 25-man rosters. And, socially distant by design sport outdoors. Yep. The NBA has none of those advantages.
The perfect socially distant team sport.
It really is. I think the league, and Siobhan, part of this could also be, there's a Christmas spike and guys went to their families for the holidays, and this would line up pretty well with that. And this could be a result of, dudes, getting it from, Tío Pepín or whatever, right? Or Uncle Luke or whoever the hell your relative is.
Uncle Luke.
Hey.
I was like Uncle something. I went Tío Pepín, and I didn't want to isolate the non-Hispanic portion of the audience, so I just went Uncle, and I don't know why I thought Luke. I went to Luke. Was that bad?
Uncle Luke is great. You get a lot.
Listen, great legend, Miami legend.
No. So I agree, and I think that highlights the point. Like, okay, why wasn't this something that was thought of, right? Like, why wasn't there like a little built-in? I don't know, maybe at the crux of the new year, there should have been something in place. Understanding that guys may travel, guys may do this and that. I don't know. I just think that it was. I don't know. Just being kind of like naive or just not giving it the due that it's due or the credit that is due. And maybe it is just the Christmas holiday spike, but that one spike still being spread makes more spikes. So,
and they also knew Christmas was coming. Like
and they pushed.
Feel like there was a lot of thought behind this.
They literally started the season that week.
They specifically wanted to start for Christmas.
Yeah.
Maybe everybody should have played on Christmas so nobody got a holiday.
The fact that they didn't go to 20-man rosters, like that's a part I will never understand.
That part's ridiculous, but I think I understand that too because, like, at the end of the day, if the Heat have all their fucking team out and now you're playing the same guys that we just mentioned plus 7 G Leaguers, like, I don't know how that makes it much better. I think that the postponement of games is probably, and I agree that they should have an expanded roster to limit this, but this is. At least Tiff makes a good point in the chat. She's like, y'all know the New Year's spike hasn't hit yet.
It hasn't hit yet, right? So that's another week from now. So we're looking at the same. It's cyclical until there's a hard stop. It's going to keep being a cycle. They don't have much recourse. They don't seem interested in a stoppage. I imagine that coaching staffs are fed up. I don't know, and it's hard to say with the players. Didn't Chris put out something yesterday that like teams are asking for a pause? There's supposed to be a board of governors meeting tomorrow. Yep.
Chris scooped Woj. How about that? Our own Christian Hernandez scooping Woj, and then some NBA executive came out and kind of said, "Oh, we're going ahead. This is all going as planned. We're fine. There's no problem here." And I texted Chris, and I was like, "Yo, Chris, you want to like double check? I know that we're a journalistic property here. Brian and I went to journalism school. We know what we're doing." But I was like, "Chris, you want to double check?" And Chris was like, "Nah, I stand by what we're saying." And I was like, "Okay, me too." And he was right. So how about that? Scooping Woj out here on Miami Heat Beat. They don't have much recourse, Alf. They don't have much recourse. They don't have much of a choice. They're probably gonna have to tough this out. I know that they're gonna meet with the Board of Governors, and what's probably gonna come out of it is they're gonna, like you suggested, expanded roster, some sort of cap flexibility if a guy gets hurt, because this, as Franky kind of alluded to, there's a lot of injuries, and they're gonna just kind of hope that this just a holiday spike and that this will go away.
I mean, isn't that what baseball did, basically? Like, you had teams full of, like minor leaguers, and all kinds of just crap. Like that's what's going to happen. Like Beasley is going to be starting for the Heat this year. Like,
oh, don't tempt me. Don't tempt me.
Gianni's gonna spread COVID just for that to happen.
Chalmers,
Bees in Rio.
Let's go.
Yep.
Look, I mean, let's be honest with you. We are very close to a Tyler Herro, Duncan Robinson, Andre Iguodala, Kelly Olynyk, and Myers Leonard starting lineup.
fire.
We're close. We're close. That's a lot of shooting. That's a spaced floor with Strus coming off your bench. Watch out, Philly. I don't know how Embiid can guard that. That's a lot of movement. That's a lot of. They're gonna play. Listen, how much Siobhan? How much zone are they gonna play with those guys out there?
It's gonna be all.
right, guys.
It's gonna be every very.
I'm just letting you know I'm out. I'm at my destination. I just want to let you guys know that even with what's happening, KZ still won't get minutes. So.
Well, he has COVID. So he's in the protocol. So
it doesn't matter. Even if he was the only guy on the roster, they just forfeit. They wouldn't let him.
You look like Alf. You look like Rick Ross in a Maybach. It's
This is definitely not the Maybach. I'm budget Rick Ross in an Altima is what I am. All right,
Need a beard. Take care, bro. Now check out Alf on Hangover Time, the host of our postgame show. It's great. It's honestly as good a postgame show as there is anywhere. So as much as we love Sun Sports, shut that shit off and come to twitch.tv/MIAHeatbeat and put that up because Siobhan, Al, Frankie,
light skin opinions.
Light skinned opinions. Gotta plug light skinned opinions. And that's light skinned opinions. We're gonna do some streaming of light skinned opinions here on our Twitch page. So check that out. They're gonna do like an LSO sports. So we're gonna get the LSO guys, Alf, Maddox, Paris. They're kind of takes on sports and sports culture through their perspective, and it's gonna be really fun. We're excited for that. And follow their YouTube page, the LSO Podcast. We will provide a link. We'll tweet it out. We've been tweeting it out regularly. Follow them. Support what they're doing. Support us here on Twitch, either by subbing or by following or whatever. We greatly appreciate it. The thing I kind of want to talk about is, kind of removed from the COVID impact of the league is the Heat were finally, it felt like at least offensively, Frankie, getting their footing, right? Like I know that the Wizards play dog shit defense, but at least you see Jimmy attacking the rim. You see that they kind of stumbled into something with Jimmy at the 4+ shooters, and now they're not going to be able to play. And Jimmy's a guy who's older, who kind of took him a little bit to get his sea legs. Goran, I think you trust him to be ready, but you kind of have these guys with an on-off layoff. It's really tough.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a little bit of Jimmy surrounded by shooters in the finals when Bam and Goran went down, and they had to start Myers and Kelly and really spread them out and let Jimmy go to work. And that's obviously a formula for success, as Jimmy had some of the best finals performances in Heat history. Yes, better than LeBron.
LeBron had good finals performances. I never.
Oh, he had 37 in the Game 7 closeout. Come on, man.
I mean, the Spurs really played. The Spurs were giving him that midi.
Come on, he had 6
came
threes,
off that
bro.
pick and pull out.
Anyways, come on, man.
That's the Battier. Hold on, wait a second. That's the Battier game. Why are you giving LeBron the credit?
No, it is the Battier game, but LeBron also hit the dagger too. You got to give him that.
Dwayne scored 23. Dwayne had a low-key bad series, and then he pulled out that jack. Buddy Jones says.
Let's go, Tyke.
Tyke has joined the chat. Tyke has joined the stream.
No, but I mean, Jimmy. We talked about Jimmy. That Jimmy's just kind of. He's always been a little bit injury prone. He's always played like 60, 70 games a season, and we were expecting that. And he missed a couple of the games to start. I expect him to play around 50 games, depending on how many games we miss in total. But you want to see him get in rhythm. He was finally playing well. He's finally looking comfortable. He was playing a little passive as well. I don't know if that was injury or just him. But I like this as an opportunity for the young guys, the guys who aren't getting minutes, for Gabe Vincent to play off that performance he had.
Are you trying to spin this into a positive?
Hey man, we got to do it. We got to get viewers in here.
What, Siobhan? What kind of propaganda is that?
You got to.
Dog, that's coach speak. Whoa. That was amazing.
You have to find what the silver lining in the COVID cloud, right? I mean, if they're so I'm not reading all the health and safety protocol, but if they're in quarantine or wherever it is, again, like you said, we're starting to get some rhythm, some flow. Not only are these guys not playing, they won't be able to practice. So that just continues to deepen the or furthers, it just highlights more that it'll be harder to get some chemistry, to maintain some chemistry, and then to take that chemistry forward. We have guys in and out. We already said Jimmy is good for 50, 60 games. And then again, you're throwing in COVID, you're throwing in all this stuff. There has to be, I don't know, it's gonna be tough to find any rhythm, any stretch, any continuity, really.
Yeah, Tiff's in the chat saying that he can't afford for this to happen. They have yet to hit a groove. And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the greater point. It's like they haven't looked good. And I think they have times against some bad teams that they've looked okay. That Washington game was the most uninspired win they've had. And the Oklahoma City game, I think really, Siobhan, the only times that I've had confidence in them was the Oklahoma City game that they look really good. And also the Milwaukee game where they beat Milwaukee. And you can at least say, okay, well, they came back from double digits down and they did it. Because even the Pelicans game, Duncan hit 1,000,000 threes and it felt like whatever. It felt like taking care of business.
Yeah.
So it's concerning.
It is. She's right. We haven't hit a groove. Maybe if this came toward the latter part of the season where we're definitely more interested in resting guys, sitting guys, stuff like that. And we've built up a rapport. We still got to get Precious acclimated. We still have to get Avery, no Momo. So there's that. It's terrible timing. And because it's still the start of the season. So I guess the flip side of that is, okay, there's enough time to right the ship. But I don't know, you put too many more holes in the ship might not, hold water enough to get it right.
They certainly do not have an airtight vessel, and all this is doing is hurting that.
What I thought about. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go. Listen, we're heapy. We interrupt each other. You go.
I was thinking about like the off season and how few moves we actually made, and then you look at the Lakers, and they retooled their ass off. They brought in names that can produce, names that are going to give you something. Dennis, Mark, Montrez, right? They brought in not only more bodies, but more productive bodies. So not only did we not really make, many moves, but the moves that we do have don't match up to those types of, our bench isn't productive or is not. I don't know. I just think
they don't have starter quality.
We don't have starter quality guys, right? Especially with our starter quality guys being out.
I think when you look at them compared to last season, and you're totally right, the Lakers have guys now that you trust in a playoff rotation. When we were talking on this show last season, like I think the Heat after, from 3 to 9 have the better players, right? Because you're just like, how much do we trust KCP and Kuzma and Danny Green, who look like he can't play anymore, right? Like, all these guys that you have a lot of question marks about. Now you have, suddenly Dennis Schroeder and Montrez, who are just incredible together, and Marc Gasol, right? And these guys that you can really, at least, maybe not trust in the playoffs, but at least Mark and Dennis, you trust in certain matchups and they give you flexibility. The Heat really, I think the only guy that might see playoff minutes is Avery Bradley. Mm-hmm. And who knows how much, because, Harkless, no Momo, Harkless doesn't appear to be that guy. And unless, you count their draft acquisition in Precious, it's not looking great.
Right, and that's not even counting losing Jay too, who was a big part of the team in the bubble. I definitely agree with Siobhan that the depth hasn't gotten stronger, and then hitting our team this hard with losing our 3 best players, it's going to be really tough to maintain. You hope that they can string along. I mean, they're playing Philly, who's been hit with COVID themselves. We'll see if Ben Simmons is able to play.
No way that
But
game gets played, man. No way that game gets played.
it's crazy, man. It shouldn't be played. It shouldn't be played. This whole thing should be shut down for a couple weeks. Let us get it together. But I mean the TV contracts are making that difficult as well.
So kind of to the bench point, the Heat, when Goran Dragic is on the court, they're plus 12 net rating in 188 minutes. And when Goran's off the court, they're minus 12 in 196 minutes. So the starters haven't been good. I think a lot of the bench guys have been fine. And it's really Goran and Precious. And also, when Precious is the lone big out there, they're plus a lot. And it's not even close. And that was kind of my argument with starting KO. And they're playing KO and Precious a lot together, which honestly I kind of want them to dial that back because Precious is so good alone. So when Precious is on the court without Bam or KO, so when he's the only center, they're plus 7 in 60 minutes. And Bam and KO and Precious are minus 0.9. So like they're barely breaking even.
Wait, the three of them together?
No, Precious and KO.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You added Bam. I thought you said
by
Bam,
mistake.
Precious, and KO.
Yeah,
Bam and Precious have played 1 minute together, and they are minus 150 per 100 possessions. So
that's a good enough
and
sample.
by the way, and I don't know how much of this is the Milwaukee game, but in 133, it can't be that many. In 133 minutes, when Bam is the small ball 5, they're minus 13 per 100 possessions.
But
their offense is at 104. So
that's
small
also
sample.
That's also them playing Mo a lot in that sample. So like, but that's the thing. That's the thing that Siobhan was mentioning about like the problem with the offseason, and we obviously know that a big part of that was them making 2021 free agency plans. So they didn't want to add extra money, but the Lakers were able to add Dennis, Mark, Wes Matthews as well. And Montrez, and that's 4 rotation caliber guys. If we would have landed Wes Matthews, we would have been throwing a party. And that's a guy Siobhan forgot. That's saying a lot.
I did forget him.
Yeah. And that's a minimum level player for them. So like that's the problem with us not really adding to or able to add to our depth. And now you're seeing it that we're gonna have to play Max Strus so much for this next game.
So Bam without Harkless, they're plus 5 per 100 in 200 minutes. Bam with Harkless, they're minus 37 in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think we should have the qualifier of any time that they play anybody that has bad on-off data. We have to filter it without Mo Harkless.
Yeah. It's like the difference between the Raptors and Toronto and Tampa.
But I will say this. When Bam is the small ball center, I'm not even going to give that the time of day. When Bam is the small ball center without Harkless and without Olynyk, so that he's truly the small ball center and without Harkless, they're getting outscored. They're minus 2 in 99 minutes. So a lot better, but still, those lineups have not given them the fruit that they need. I think part of that is they don't have a 4 that they trust in the small ball lineups. I think Jimmy might be the guy. But, again, you don't want to run that in. That might be the playoff card. Again, I'm not a fan of that. I think he's too small for long stretches, but it kind of is what it is.
I think it's matchup dependent, though.
I think against the Celtics, they can get away with it. I think against the Bucks, they can't. I think when they play the Bucks, they're just not.
Yeah.
And let's remember that the Bucks right now have the best half-court offense in the league. The Heat, if you're going to downsize against them when they do go big, that's just a problem. And while Giannis is not going to post up Jimmy, I do think that the pressure that Giannis provides that on-ball defender is a lot. It's going to take from Jimmy on the other end, and Jimmy's going to have to make decisions on when to reach, when to not, and that's going to affect the defense. So why
won't Giannis post up Jimmy?
Because Giannis is a bad post-up player.
He is, and that's on his fault. Like, that's to his chagrin.
He just doesn't. He's just adverse to it. I mean, that's the criticism. I mean, he doesn't have that, and that's why the Heat were able to switch on him a lot.
Yeah, we're just small. We're small, and we don't have people.
Because, like, the thing with Jay Crowder was, I mean, the solution to that is you post up Jay Crowder. And while Jay is small, Giannis is almost 7 feet tall, right? But he doesn't have that. And that's why Jokic is, batshit crazy, because he can post up and whip the ball around the court. Like, nobody has that. That's the big thing with the Pacers, by the way, because Domantas Sabonis is a monster in the post. And all that cute switching stuff doesn't work against a guy that'll be like, I'm getting 1.2 points per possession when I get down here. Oh, you want to send the double? Well, I'm one of the best passing big men in the league. That's where that stuff gets a problem. But, I mean, they can guard him with Bam and they'll be fine. So I'm not worried about Sabonis. But just kind of schematically in general, the Jimmy at the 4 stuff, I think becomes a problem when there's a guy who can post them up. That becomes like kind of an untenable situation for them.
It also depends, like, if they're adding something. Because, I mean, if I get offensively, like, hypothetically, the Goran, Tyler, Duncan, Jimmy, Bam lineup will, like, blow teams out of the water with offensively. But defensive, you got to see defensively if how that's gonna do. I would be curious about it. Goran looked better in the short sample of the playoffs defensively than he did all season, and really since the last couple of years. And Tyler and Duncan, I would say they've both improved a lot.
Definitely Duncan.
Yeah,
they're not positives though, Frankie. Like they're at best a neutral.
Yeah, but are we also taking into account short off season, short rest, and all that? We know some of these numbers are wishy washy right now. We know they got to even. They're over an extended period of time. We'll see how they go. I'm saying right now, with the way the things are for the Heat, they should be trying shit. They should be trying shit, especially a number that I mean, not a number, but a lineup that could perform that well hypothetically on offense.
So, chat's saying, how do you guys feel about the Heat trading for Larry Nance Jr.? That's a guy that's been incredible for Cleveland this season. Legit Defensive Player of the Year candidate. He can switch a little bit. He's a drop big. I don't know about playing him a power forward. I think that if the Heat really want, they want a guy who's a little quicker and who's a little more reliable on the switching. His three-point shooting is good this season. It's at 40%. He's never been above 35%. He's been about 35% once, which was last season. I don't know how that holds.
Hasn't he been playing a lot of 3 this season?
He's just not as switchable as I'd like. I think they use him as a drop big, kind of containing that. And by the way, Nekias Duncan, our own Nekias Duncan, pun master and statistician here for Heat Beat, who also works for Basketball News, has a podcast out. It's called The Dunker Spot with Steve Jones Jr. Is it Junior? Is it Steve Jones Jr.? Just Steve Jones. Whatever.
Sure.
They have a podcast for Basketball News, and it's great. You should check that out. Nekias is a dear friend of ours, and he's moved on to great things. And it's honestly, it's a great show. And if you want to learn about basketball, listen to that, because Nekias and Steve are two of the damn smartest people covering this league, and it's a treat to listen to them talk really, really deep in the X's and O's. Alex is saying that he's their starting small forward. They play small a lot with him at kind of 4s or 5s. I'm not sure about his switchability, but
no, he's been pretty solid over the past on switches.
Am I just dead wrong here?
He's really good defensively. I wouldn't be opposed to it.
He's been incredible.
He's played most of his minutes at the 4, but he does start at the 3 for them. They start that wonky lineup with Love at the 4 and Andre Drummond at the 5. Your favorite. So
did you see that offensive possession he had?
Yeah.
Siobhan, did you see it?
Oh my God, yes.
Guys, just to peel back the curtains a little bit, Gianni has this weird obsession with hating Andre Drummond.
Sucks.
For no reason. He's
bad,
he just hates
Siobhan.
it.
Siobhan, he's a bad basketball player. He eats rebounds because he's 1,000,000 feet tall and he's strong. He's not a good basketball player. Like, he's a bad defender. He has cement feet. He's literally does not make good decisions. He has 0 to no ball skills. He's bad. He's just enormous. He's just not if he wasn't 7 feet tall, if he was 6'7", he would not be in the league.
But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Why? Because
he's
7
bad.
feet tall, and that matters.
Hassan Whiteside
for something.
Hassan Whiteside is a better basketball player than Andre Drummond.
Hassan Whiteside is not a better basketball player.
Yes,
than
he
me.
is. Yes,
no,
he
he's
is.
Not.
Yes, he is.
If Hassan Whiteside was 6'7", he would not be in the league either. All right, what are we doing here?
No, you see the little rock the baby on the fast break that he had.
God.
There's something there. There's something.
Hold
there's
on.
something deep down.
Siobhan, a couple years ago, Gianni tweeted that take that Andre Drummond is not better than Hassan Whiteside. That thing was the most ratioed tweet of all time.
It was literally over 300 Cambies. The Marcus Camby booing. It was literally over 300. We were at a bar. We were watching Sixers Celtics. It was you, me, Alf, Christian, and Nekias. And that I unleashed that take on the world, and I got ratioed so hard.
You got ratioed there. We told you not to tweet it. You're like, I'm gonna tweet
You
it.
ratioed me in person.
Yeah.
You ratioed me in person, and then I took it to the timeline, and I was getting the blue check marks doing it too. Everybody was doing it. Everyone was getting.
And it wasn't just Heat fans. It was fans from everywhere. Pistons fans. They're like, "What are you talking about, bro? I don't even like Drummond."
Duncan Smith, one of the great people covering our league, just sent me the Marcus Camby thing. Dead Hand 55 in chat says Drummond can pass. That is debatable. Alex Toledo in chat, Troppy Baby says Nance is signed through 2023 with one of those weird contracts that decrease, similar to Harrison Barnes, who is another guy that I think that would be nice fit on the Heat. Where
is he? Is he in Sacramento?
He's in Sacramento.
Still? Yeah.
He's in Sac. So those are two guys to look at.
I mean, even if Andre is terrible, like if I just need a big ass rebound grabber, then fits a role. I don't. You don't need Andre Drummond to take you to the promised land. Give me 12 boards a game.
I'd rather have Dwight Howard. I'd just rather have Dwight.
Oh, he's more mobile. I don't care.
I mean, like,
either.
whatever.
Precious better.
I'd rather have Precious. Precious better. Guys,
I think Precious
tomorrow.
Gonna be good. We just gotta develop him. Give him time. Precious is gonna be good.
I think within the next 2-3 years when Precious puts on because Precious is still pretty light for a big man. He's like 2'5". Looks like he's got the frame to add like 20 more pounds of muscle. He's got if Zoe puts him under his wing, he could look like Zoe.
He pisses me off. He doesn't jump. Me and Tiffany talk about all the time. He will not jump. No. He doesn't get high off the ground, but looks like a crazy athlete. What are you doing?
He's got a crazy vertical.
He just reaches. Yeah, but he just reaches for the ball.
Yeah.
And like 2 inches off. Get up.
He's a guy that's like, he has an NBA ready body. Like, he doesn't look like he doesn't belong, but you could tell that he doesn't have it filled out yet.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to get bigger. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's like similar to Hassan in body. Like, he's going to like be really big and muscular, like super broad shoulders, push guys out of the way. And by the way, he's going to be he's one of the few guys that's not in the COVID protocol. So that's probably going to be the starting center if they play tomorrow. It's probably going to be him.
Kelly.
Him and Kelly in the front court. Like,
is Joel playing?
I don't know.
I think he was out right now.
Well, I mean, the Sixers are claiming he was hurt, but he also I think is really scared of COVID because he was I don't know. The situation is weird. Siobhan, the answer is I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. Like, nobody knows who's available.
Which is why we need a pause.
Which is why we need a pause. Before we go, in case they play tomorrow. There's a chance that they do play tomorrow, although I would advise nothing. Apparently, the Suns are losing by 20 to the Wizards right now. Marco95R says in chat, which is really funny, the Wizards. And watch, somebody on that Wizard team is going to come away with a positive test because it's a tradition like no other. Probable starting lineup, Heat, Herro, probably Andre, KO, Precious. I think that's Duncan. The move there.
You named 4 people.
Duncan.
Okay.
Tyler, Duncan,
so,
Andre, KO, Precious.
Joel is playing tonight, so we might see him.
Oh, wow, it's going to go badly. A lot of zone. If they play tomorrow, a lot of zone.
They start. All right, let's talk about this. This is my big NBA conspiracy theory. Apparently, there's a guy named Dakota Mathias. That's not a real guy. Come on. That is not a real guy.
Matisse Thybulle?
No, Dakota Mathias.
Dakota Mathias.
That's not a real name.
Oh, I'm looking at it, yeah.
It's made up.
Yes, it is.
Made up.
That is made up. That guy. Look at that guy. Guys, chat, please take a second.
6'3".
Look at that guy. That guy is the equipment manager. Look at his face. That guy looks like my drug dealer.
So, let's go over again what we're kind of looking at in terms of Heat availability. So again, Dragic, Butler, Bradley, Bam, Harkless, Haslam, Nunn, and Okpala all out. That leaves Myers Leonard 1, Gabe Vincent if he plays 2, Kelly Olynyk 3, Max Strus 4, Tyler Herro, Duncan Robinson 5, 6, Precious Achiuwa 7, and I think that's it. I don't know how they're gonna get. Did I mention Andre? And Andre 8.
Yeah, Andre.
So that's their 8. They as of right now, if Myers Leonard is cleared to play because he has a shoulder strain and that looked bad,
That's
if
true.
Gabe Vincent and Kelly Olynyk are cleared to play because Vincent has some sort of sore knee and Olynyk has a groin contusion and they're probable. Honestly, like at this point, it's like just say that they can't play because like why are you gonna do this? But if they all play, it's rough. You have 8 guys, you're playing them all. The Strus is loose. That's the Strus game.
It's rough either way. Let it be the Precious game. I just let Precious take every shot he wants. I want to see Precious shoot. We said we're trying shit. Let Max shoot. I don't know.
Let's go. Let's go. I love trying shit. Spo loves to try shit.
Try shit. This is a great Tinker game. He has no choice but to tinker. The Tinker was done for him.
This is
your hand is forced, Eric.
And this is actually funny. I'm looking at the roster again. The guys available. There's only 2 guys available who can't shoot, and Precious and Iggy. And like
that's what I said. There's a lot of shooters out there.
We're gonna have some like this is the Heat might as well fuck it around and just shoot all threes.
We're gonna give up 200 points.
I'm for sure picking. I'm Duncan's on my fantasy team. Like for sure, I'm picking him up because they're gonna that motherfucker's gonna shoot everything. Max Strus and Duncan and Tyler are gonna over or under 30 combined threes.
Oh,
over.
I think over. I just think they're just gonna let it fly.
I think they're gonna sell out on Duncan.
That Duncan's too disciplined. There's nobody to run a handoff with.
Yeah. Oh God, man, that too. Yeah,
that's Precious.
I would love to see like them get a little more creative this game. Let's see, not just
with
what just more off-ball stuff with Duncan instead of focusing so much on the dribble handoffs. Like you mentioned last time that they're running more dribble handoffs than they did last year. Now,
somehow,
and it's not as effective because it's a little more on the scouting report, and I think the lack of Goran in the starting lineup has hurt them with the other threat and option. So might as well just fucking let Tyler and Duncan shoot as much as you want.
I want to specifically say that I think that the decrease in handoff productivity is almost exclusively tied to Tyler and Duncan not shooting 45 and 40%.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to. I don't think it's. I just think that those guys were shooting an unreasonable amount last season. They were shooting unreasonably well. And Duncan's still a good shooter. I think Duncan's at
41.
Duncan's still at 40. Yeah, Duncan's at 41%. So Duncan is still an elite shooter.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, what was he at? 45% last season? Like, the production that they were getting was an all-time great shooting off that Bam and Duncan handoff, which is gonna, bump your points per possession up. Yeah, he's shooting 39% on 8 attempts.
So try something else. Do something. Be creative this game. I don't know. Send Duncan off of some like a stagger on the baseline. Just play with stuff. Send him through some staggers. Some double staggers along the baseline. Send him through like some elevator screens on the wing. Like
I want him to do that. What you're saying. That Steph Clay elevator. Why don't they run it with Tyler and Duncan? Just get weird. What choice do you have?
You start
roll off the elevator. Oh, there's so much to do from that.
You can run some crazy eights with Iguodala handling. You have Tyler and Duncan go the screen for each other and come off double screens. You have so many options. You can be way more creative. And another thing about Tyler, I think Tyler's. I want Tyler to be a 3-level scorer, but a lot of these off the dribble stuff, a lot of his off the dribble attempts, he's got to learn how to turn those pull ups into threes. He's not taking enough pull-up. He needs. I know that's a work in progress, but he needs to take some of those, space the floor a little better.
He's shooting really well on those pull-up twos.
He's
shooting 50%.
He is.
On those pull-up.
But he is taking less threes than he did last year with more minutes and more ball load.
I just want Tyler to get his legs back under him.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with him maybe not stretching the floor as well as he was right now because I don't think he has his confidence yet, right? He went through the whole summer hearing his name in trade rumors. He got off to a rough start. And so I think maybe this game, I think, it's important for him to just get confident in himself again, get comfortable in himself, and then, work back on, the pull-ups off of or pull-up from the 3, stuff like that. I just want him to – this can be a try shit game for him too. Just let him see the ball go through the rim consistently at 3 levels. Let him feel like he's able to do the things that he is able to do.
His wizard tryout.
Yeah.
I want to end the show on that joke so bad, but I have a question for Siobhan before we go, and I want to plug our stuff for tomorrow. Siobhan, what do you think Tyler's shooting from three this year?
I have no idea. I'm not even going to take a guess.
29%, 28.6%, so 29%.
Yeah.
On similar volume than last year, 5.3.
That's confidence, man. That's people are tired of hearing about Tyler Herro. People are tired of hearing about Duncan Robinson. They already said we were a fluke. They already claim, people go at them a bit more because they're white boys. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I just think people are, okay, we saw what you did in the bubble when we already don't think that that's real. Do that same thing here. And thus far, we haven't really seen that. But again, I think that's some confidence stuff. You said 26?
29%.
29.
The other bad thing is, so last year Tyler was playing 27 minutes a game and he was only putting up 5.4 threes. This season he's playing 33 minutes a game and only putting up the same 5.3, which is also my concern with the free throw shooting, that he's only up one free throw from last season, considering he has a lot more on ball reps. He's playing a lot more minutes. So those
he's handling the ball more, right? We got to get him off the ball so that he can get to those three, so that he's not trying to set the table and worry about getting everyone else's game. I like Tyler as just put it on the table, go get me a bucket. I think
I'm kind of with Nikias on this, though, that you got to have him on ball to see what you have.
Yeah.
Because I think ups, like what you're saying is he's great at that role. And we know he's great at that role.
So expand his role. Yeah.
That's not an all-star.
Yeah.
That's a really good starter. If you want him to be an all-star, he has to find his shot off the dribble.
It's
he
his
needs
second
to operate.
year.
I know, but that's why you got to see what he has. Like, hey, this is a try shit game. Like, tinker, try shit, drip drop, pull up, figure that out. I think the shooting numbers are going to get better and he'll take more, but kind of Alex made the point in the chat, like, has to up those attempts. The free throw shooting actually concerns me because he has a lot more on ball pick and roll reps and he's only getting one more attempt than last year. And in the playoffs, he's about at what he had in the playoffs last season when he was playing a lot of minutes with Jimmy and Goran. So he's the third ball handler. That to me is concerning in a can you consistently get to the free throw line type thing.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, I love how you gave the credit and I first that he needs to shoot more threes.
No, but I'm trying to get chat. I'm trying to get chat.
I know, man. I'm just giving you shit. No, but he absolutely, he needs to learn how to get to the free throw line a lot better. He's driving a lot more. He needs to learn how to play against better defenders, which is great why he's starting now. Last year, all his great games coming off the bench, he got to get in rhythm against second team rosters, playoffs or not. He was playing worser guys. So he got to get his rhythm in, take advantage of guys who were bottom of the roster guys, and now he's playing against the best on ball guy every goddamn night. Drew Holiday was not guarding him last year.
No.
Yeah. Now he's seeing Drew Holiday, then he's seeing Marcus Smart, then he's seeing Lonzo Ball. He's seeing guys who are capable, and he's learning. Yeah. He's gonna get better. I think he needs. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take reps. I'm completely okay with seeing him, mess up. You want to see your guards, you want to see your young guys make their mistakes, so that by the time with the playoffs come around, if the Heat are in a good standing, you want him to be capable of expanding his role and being comfortable at that point. You don't want him to be learning how to get comfortable at that point when an injury happens or anything like that.
I mean, I think he's largely been good. I think the pick and roll ball handling numbers have been good. I think that maybe it doesn't look great, but I think he'll get there. Like you said, it's Siobhan. It's his second year. But this is the time. Now when guys are going to be out for God knows how long, and if they're going to, God forbid, they get some games in now, this is his time. And honestly, like, Precious is a young cornerstone for them. I mean, build some pick and roll reps with him. I don't know how many minutes they've played together. It doesn't feel like a lot. I'm going to check that right now, but I mean, I guess kind of what you said, the silver lining in the COVID smoke. Yeah. They really gotta find something. So they've played. Let me pull this up. They have played exactly 75 minutes together, and they're a minus, so more than I thought, but
What?
less than they should.
You got to check the Mo filter.
I gotta. Let's filter from. We'll filter from Mo. Mo. I always write Mo Harkless, not Maurice Harkless when I filter the. Okay.
You gotta
More
filter
Harkless.
him out.
Okay. So Tyler Precious, no Harkless. Okay, they've not played with him at all. The three of them have played 4 minutes, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Y'all, that's been our show. Really appreciate you for coming. I know it's a weird time in our basketball sphere. Siobhan, thank you for coming on. We kind of have you back on again. You are part of the team. We're excited for the season. Tomorrow, there will be a hangover time. If there's a game or no game, Alf has committed to being out here for the people. There will be a hangover time. If the game is canceled, I imagine it'll be around when tip-off would have been. If it's not, then we will do it after the game. And if they do play tomorrow, Jack Alfonso and I will be here for the Heat Beat pregame show, and we'll do wacky dumbness with y'all to get you prepped for that game. Check out the pod feed. Yo, if you guys can review our pod on Apple, that'd be great, because we don't have a lot of reviews. 5 stars.
Gotcha.
Laker fans came in here over the finals, and they gave us 1-star reviews because they fought dirty. That was biological warfare on their part.
Yeah.
They fought dirty. They came in to give us 1-star reviews because we were trashing the Lakers, and all these little Laker fans, it's like Laker fan forever 24 heart are commenting, these guys suck. I hate them.
And we went viral because G called the Lakers fan a proud boy.
Yeah, I've already apologized publicly for
What
that.
happened with that?
Okay, so what?
Tell the story.
So what happened? What happened with that? Was Tim NBA, who, by the way, I want to say is a great guy. Okay, this is all in the past. We were kind of beefing with him because he was saying, which turned out to be correct, that Tyler Herro sucks against drop coverage, and that the Lakers were going to smoke the Heat, and that KCP was better than all these people, and that, the Lakers drop and they're going to obliterate all what the Heat do or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So we were kind of beefing with him, and then Alex Solana looked at his profile picture and is like, he looks like a Proud Boy. And I was like, and the podcast is called Lakers Exceptionalism. So we were making fun of the name, and we were doing that. Yeah. I thought, whatever. And then Brian said, Brian did not know what a Proud Boy was. Our producer and co-founder, Brian Goins. And then he called Nikias a Proud Boy.
He said
Nikias Duncan.
He said Nikias is our Proud Boy.
Yeah, it's
which is wrong on so many levels.
Brian did not know what a Proud Boy was.
Very many levels.
He did not know. He thought it was someone that was proud of their work. I swear to God. And it was uncomfortable. We laughed so hard. Brian turned every shade. He was as red as the Heat Christmas Day jerseys. It was hysterical.
No, and then G tweeted him from the team account, from the Miami Heat Beat account, that he should drink bleach.
I did. The Laker fan. The Laker podcaster. Which, by the way, Siobhan, back in the era of the Big Three, I mean, that would have been just a Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Like that. We used to say that to each other. So I didn't know the rules changed. We haven't been good in a while. So that happened. And then Laker Twitter found me. They found the podcast. They were clipping me out of context and clipping me in context, making fun of me, making fun of the show, calling me racist to white people, which I don't even know how that works, but whatever. And they were saying all sorts of things. They were leaving bad reviews on Apple. They were coming to our stream and talking shit.
There was a Reddit post.
And Laker fans were like, my mentions were on fire for like 2 weeks. I was the only one on Heat Twitter trying to beef with Laker fans. I was holding it down for y'all. So eventually I reached out to Tim and I was like, Tim, this got out of hand. I got in the moment. I don't mean that. I'm really sorry. Like I should be careful. That's a dangerous thing to call people in our political climate. And he's like, make fun of my pasty ass all you want. Just that really hurt because Tim runs a website in which he curates and creates stats in terms of tracking data and all that stuff. And Tim's like, we donate a portion of our proceeds to like black causes or black businesses something. And I'm just like, this is the nicest guy. And then he's like, if you ever need any of our metrics, let me know. I'll be glad to help you. Thanks for reaching out and apologizing. It's all good. Oh my God. Siobhan, I wanted to die. I was like, this man, he's such a better person than I am. So that's how Brian and I got in trouble because of Alex Solana's comment.
He keeps putting Brian into it when Brian did it. Brian didn't go viral.
We win and lose as a team, Frankie. We win and lose as a team.
No, this is like Mo saying, "Yeah, me and Bam had a bad game."